So now I'm going to start with the first step in sketching trigonometric graph, that is to recognize the general pattern of the graph. So please pay attention here, this is the most important step. If you do not recognize the general pattern, you will not be able to draw any trigonometric graph. So I'm going to start with y equal to sine x and y equal to cos x. So first we have a horizontal axis, which is your x-axis, and a vertical axis, which is your y-axis. So for cos x, we have the horizontal axis as well and a vertical axis. So this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and the same thing go for this one, x-axis and y-axis. So let's say I'm interested to draw until 360 degree. So this is 0, this is 360 degree. Half of 360 is 180 degrees. Half of this is 90 degree. The middle of 180 and 360 will be 270 degree. So we have the same scale for cos x, 360, 0, 180, 90 and 270. So now I'm going to put the range on the y-axis. Remember, for sine x and cos x, the maximum is 1 and the minimum is -1. It means that for graph of sine x, cos x, it always swings between -1 and 1. So this is the first thing you have to know, that is your sine x is between -1 and 1. At the same time, your cos x is between -1 and 1 as well. So now we start to sketch the curve. So the first point here is 0 degree. If you press your calculator, sine 0, you will have answer 0. So the first point is 0, 0. Then you press your calculator for sine 90, you will get 1. So the second point will be 91. Sine 180 will produce 0 again, so you have 0. Sine 270 will be -1, so you have 270, -1. And the last one, if you press sine 360, you will get a 0 again. So you have 360, 0. So now you can see how is the general pattern of y equal to sine x. So this is a general pattern of y equal to sine x. Always start from 0, then to 1, back to 0, to -1, back to 0 again. If you couldn't remember, you can just simply press your calculator. Then you will know what is the general pattern of the graph. Now we move to y equal to cos x. So if you press your calculator, cos 0 will be 1. So yeah, the first point is 0, 1. So this is different from sine x. Sine x start from 0, cos x start from 1. So you press a calculator for cos 90, they will give you answer 0. So 1, then back to 0. If you press for cos 180, it will give you a -1. Cos 270 is 0. And the last one, cos 360, will be back to 1. So you have 180, -1, 270 will be 0, cos 360 is 1. So now you can recognize the pattern of y equal to cos x. So remember, this should be a curve, so you shouldn't draw a straight line. Okay, this will be the general patterns of y equal to cos x. So another important thing here, that is, for sine x, one complete turn is actually 360 degrees. So we call this period, which is 360 degrees. It means that sine x curve, I'm going to repeat this cycle. This is considered one cycle. Every 360, they're going to repeat this cycle, meaning from 0 to 720, you should be able to see 2 complete turns. So you look at cos x, you can see here, for cos x, the period is also 360 degrees. So one complete cycle for cos x is also 360. So for period for sine x and cos x, you should know that period is 360 for sine x and the period for cos x is also 360. So now a few important points here. First, you should know the general pattern of the curve. Sine always start from 0 to 1, back to 0 to -1, back to 0. For cos x, it starts from 1 to 0, then to -1, back to 0, and then back to 1 again. In the exam, 1 mark will be given for the pattern of the curve. The second point here is sine x and cos x always swing between -1 and 1. That is, the maximum is 1 and the minimum is -1. The last point here is the period for sine x and cos x is 360 degrees. This is important because 1 mark will be given for the correct period. Next, I'm going to show you the general pattern for y equal tangent x. You will find that the pattern for tangent x is totally different from sine x and cos x. Y equal to tangent x. For y equal to tangent x, the pattern is totally different from y equal to cos x and sine x. So pay attention here. We start this by drawing our horizontal axis. That is the x-axis, and the vertical axis, that is the y-axis. So we have y-axis and x-axis. The same thing, we have 360 degree, 180 degree, half of it 90 degree, and 270 degree. First, I'm going to introduce to you a vertical line which is called asymptote. For tangent x, you have a vertical line going through x equal to 90. Then you plus 180, that is 270. This is the next asymptote here. So these two vertical straight lines are called asymptotes. So you can see here, every 180 you will have one asymptote. So the graph for tangent x will be a little bit different. If you press your calculator, tangent 0, you will have answer 0. So this is the first point here, 0, 0. So if you press for tangent 45, you will get answer equal to 1. So 45 here, you will have 1. And you press for a bigger angle, you will get answer bigger than 1. So actually the curve look like that. They start from 0 here, all the way going up to the positive infinity, but never touch the asymptote here. So now I will show you to draw one complete cycle of tangent x from x equal to 90 degree all the way to 270 degree. So you start from a negative infinity, approaching the 0 here, from 0 to approaching the positive infinity. So this is one complete cycle of tangent x. So here we have half of the complete cycle. That is the pattern of tangent x from 0 to 360 degree. So you can see here tangent 180 is also 0 and tangent 360 0. Where tangent 90 and tangent 270, these two is undefined. So if you press the calculator, tangent 90 and tangent 270, you have syntax error. So another important point here for tangent x, one complete cycle. So I call it the period equal to 180 degree. Remember this, for sine and cos, the period is 360 degree. But for tangent x, the period is 180 degree. That is, every 180, they are going to make one cycle like this. If you're not sure how to draw a graph for y tangent x, you can now start to practice it. First, you draw your horizontal axis and the vertical axis. Then you draw your asymptote at x equal to 90 degree and x equal to 270 degree. So from 0 to 90, there will be half a cycle here. And from 90 to 270, you will see the full complete cycle for tangent x. And from 270 and 360, you see another half cycle there.